Okay, this project is going to give us a chance to, again, work on our perspective views, our exterior perspective views. I use this image here. I thought this is a really good iconic view of the house. Again, if you look at these lines, how they converge, again, here we're back to this. Will come down to a point someplace in here, someplace like this. So we've got this horizon line through here, like this, right? On our piece of the picture we're using. So down here, again, break up your your sketch pad into two equal places, the top and the bottom. And then we'll go a little more detail work here on this view. So we got our horizon line through here. Get the structure like this. And we're just going to block in this basic shape. And we're just back down to, right? This is our cube, made a cube, okay? Just like we've done before in other projects. We've got a basic structure up here. We're not adding details, we're simply adding this idea. There's a wall that comes out through here. And we're not worried about putting details in, we just got a basic shape back here. So you can see we've just blocked that. Here's our main block. This is the main part of the structure here. We've got a little high rise. That could be actually, well, it could be part of probably the fireplace, okay, here. We've got another piece of the form that comes out this way. See that? So we've got this, we've sort of blocked in this piece of architecture like we do everything else we draw, okay, very similar. So architecture, drawing architects, a piece of architecture, drawing a person's face, drawing a car, going back to our early studies in the modernism and even Leonardo da Vinci. You're just blocking in these shapes, and it simplifies the concept of where you're going. Then we can get involved in some of the design details, okay? So here we've got a little area. Here's this is actually, I think, might have water in it at one point. So we can extend this out just a little bit. And here's our perspective. So we'll start with the main front. Divides up this way. Looks like there's obviously a wall. You could walk out like a little terrace. You can walk out onto this. Again, Frank Lloyd Wright was very much into people walking out and enjoying the environment. Looks like a sort of a pillar out this way. And we've got this series of design elements up here. Sometimes we have to. And here's that Mayan influence. You've got these little ornamentation here. Okay. This is generally called a header. Head beam here over the entryway of an opening. This header actually takes all the structure. So you have pillars, and then you have the header, which basically this is strong enough that it'll keep, obviously glass is not a structure. So you got this big opening. You'll notice at the top of windows, you'll see a big piece of structure. It's called a header, and that actually keeps, transfers the load from here into the pillars like this. So you can have this opening. And we've got a window, and we can go ahead and darken in part of this. Let's say that's part of the window. Pillars here. There's a shadow here on this piece. There's another piece here. There's that pillar out here. And you'll notice there's a slight arc. There's a slight change in, not straight up and down. It sort of comes in just a little bit. There's that Mayan influence. slant, I should say. Slant this way. This comes back like that. So that's our front. We'll start with the front first. May put in the this little water. Sometimes they would put these shallow pools next to pieces of architecture as a way to reflect the architecture. So if this was full of water, you'd literally see the building reflected in the water itself. I don't think they put water in this one at the park, but and then he's got an area out here. It could be for landscaping. So we've got our front area here, front facade of the building this way, out here, and we'll just bring this back. Again, there's always that perspective line here. There's our fireplace up in here. You can see just a little bit of something that was probably the fireplace cover. Here's our texture. We'll just put lines in for now. We'll go back and work out the details. It looks like there's a door back in here. That's our face to the side. We can put some light lines on this side. That's the shadow side. See, so now we've got the sun moving in this way. This is light. This is going to be very light lines here for a shadow. Okay. You can see some windows back in here. We'll let this vignette out. Remember we talked about vignette, things that go, you get stronger here and just let it sort of fade out to one side. And there's a little, like a wall back in here, some kind of structure. We'll just put that in like this. Okay. And as we talked about before, trees. And these can be just real simple. Usually generally when you draw trees in architecture, you just sort of draw this squiggly line around the outside. Not too much detail, because it's just giving the impression that you're in the environment. And there's some obviously concept for landscaping. Landscape architecture is a whole different level of design work where you're basically putting in these pieces of trees and bushes and stuff to complement the architect, the design of the architecture piece. And we can maybe darken it just a little bit so it comes forward. And a little bit of looks like a little bit of some landscaping here. I guess, basically when they plant in the spring, you'll see bushes in here. So we can just go ahead and put some bushes around the outside of this. And then we can darken a few lines. Generally, like I said, the piece that's closest to you, you can make darker. Let it fade out. And then just a little bit of detail here. We'll go back in and we can see these little pieces are actually individual pieces. So we can go back and maybe just give each one of these a little bit of its own character. This is that Mayan influence. A little shadow underneath this header, a little darker. like I said, anytime you draw, whether it's a person, a car, piece of architecture, a flower, it's kind of nice to have a nice focus point. Focus point meaning this is the part of the highest contrast. So we've got a perspective in line. This is our vanishing points. Everything kind of works this way. And those are very light lines. And when you put the dark lines in, you don't notice all these construction light lines. And it has this overall really nice quality sketch. It's a sketch, okay? So that's one of our elevation views.